I've been trying to rekindle my interest in the role-playing games, um, and lack of time more than anything has been biggest restriction. Um, and I'm looking into alternatives to the old Dungeons and Dragons, collecting the materials. Maybe I'll get to them or not. But I'm looking into some of these minimalist designs, um, and not just in fantasy war game or fantasy role-playing, uh, but some of these minimalist rule sets. I used to love the bookkeeping. I used to love the number crunching. Going through the tables and everything. But it is a little time consuming. And as more of these games lean into the narrative rather than the mechanics of it from the original Sand Table Wargaming, um, the actual combat mechanics are getting trimmed back a bit. And especially if you're trying to simulate, it's one thing to try to simulate reality, but as soon as you get dragons and wizards and this other stuff, simulating reality is less important. Some people enjoy it, the exact numbers and whatnot, um, but really you just want to weigh the odds and introduce some skills and go. So like I said, I've been looking at some of these minimalists, and one of the ones I just picked up is this EZD6, and the designer has play tested it at all kinds of cons and stuff, and it's a really neat system. And it's got the artist uh, did some really nice work in it too. It's very enjoyable to look at, to read. It's, as you can see, quite small. That's the whole set of rules. They've got some addendum now that they've been adding in, but that's it. Um, and I get amused that the mechanics itself are quite simple, but there's a lot of depth to them. And this is a fooler. This is one of those you really need to play it. You read through it and you get a feel for it. But it's got a couple of mechanics that you can't judge until you've actually played them. The karma and the hero die, which are very important. Dead simple, but very important. And I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but I've been watching a lot of games online, and it seems it uses a D6 system, so it uses two D6 generally. Uh, eh, anywhere from 1 to 3 D6, whatever. And then you either have banes or boons for advantage, disadvantage, and so forth. Uh, and that in itself would make things seem horribly random and oversimplified. But once you start introducing the karma points, uh, it takes a lot more skill. It turns it basically from like tic-tac-toe to chess. Yet it still has a remarkably simple set of rules. And I really like the magic system in this. Had when I looked at it a little while ago, it was there wasn't much of a set of rules for magic. It was just, make it up as you go. Well, okay, but I'd like a little bit of structure. And I think this is just about the right amount of structure for a minimalist game. Uh, and as I said, I've been enjoyed reading through it. It looks like a lot of fun. I want to try it here in the very near future. One of the things is people keep complaining about this is says, oh, it becomes very combat oriented. Well, if you're doing a one-shot demo, then you're demonstrating primarily the combat system, since that's what takes up most of the roles. The actual role-playing part of it, uh, beyond like a reaction roll or something, doesn't take a lot. And to my mind, rather than leaning into the combat, these minimalist games are really leaning into the narrative. I've got I'm looking at some of the adventures for some of these other games, and you've got an original first edition adventure, and you want to convert it to fifth edition D&D or whatever. And there's quite a bit of conversion going there because you have so many rules. I could grab virtually any of these modules, adventures, or whatever, and adapt it to this on the fly because the mechanics are so simple. Is this a minion, or is this sort of a medium-sized monster, or is this a boss? You recreate the kinds of spells, and it's like, okay, how tough would this spell be to cast, or what kind of damage would it do, or anyway. But like I said, it's very simple, um, not very expensive. I think it's a good addition to the collection. As I said, I've been watching live or watching videos of gaming, and again, if you read this, it's going to be really hard to get a feel for it. So you need to sort of watch it played, and it makes a lot more sense. And you can see again, very simple mechanics, but you can see a lot more depth to it as it's played. But yeah, this is another addition to the collection.